This one might be the best one yet. Episode 3 of Mortal Hunters, Corrida de Torros, also translated to Bull Run, is probably the best one so far. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Everything I had nitpicks about in the previous episodes were not only corrected, but improved on dramatically. And I'll get into it in a second. Actually, no, I'm gonna kind of gush over this episode real quick. First off, I remember talking about in my previous episode impressions and review. Let me fix my mic. Dang, there we go. And I talked about how the focus in the camera was off in a few ways. One character would be speaking, but the camera would be focused on someone else entirely. Just like my camera just tried to do. And a bit of some janky line delivery. What I mean by that is a lot of line reads didn't sound or read well or naturally. And that's to be expected with amateur, with independent film stuff like this. It's very amateurish. And I mean that in a good way. It's not an insult. It's just what it is. And there was another thing that I found a little silly in episode 2. I remember talking about how there, in the previous episode, we had the other hunters get into this weird tense standoff. And I didn't bring it up, but Goldilocks, portrayed by, well, crap, I forgot who portrayed who. I need to write this stuff down like more often. But Goldilocks has a rivalry with Jazzy to the point where they are willing to fight or get into a physical altercation with one another. Jazzy is revealed to have a firearm in her waistband, and Goldilocks' first instinct after talking mad shit, pardon my language, is to put up her hands, get into a fighting stance, ready to square up. Why? I find that very goofy, because why would your first reaction be that? It's just a little nitpick I want to bring up because, not a nitpick, just a little something silly that I remembered when I rewatched these episodes is she does that, and I'm sitting and I'm just thinking that's some goofy goober behavior right there. Other than that, episode 3, Corrida de Torros, Bull Run, translated, is the best one yet. And I got a little bit more detailed with the plot synopsis that I wrote down to help me get things consistent. So I'm going to briefly go over the plot synopsis and talk about what I liked and what I want to touch on. Not a lot happens in this episode, and that's a good thing. This one is purely Prairie Dog and Canine's episode. So, we start out with the episode. Prairie Dog and Canines get to a forested area, and they split up to dig around to find a tablet piece, or a clue to a tablet piece. I'm going to assume it's a tablet piece. If y'all don't remember, in the previous episode, we get the setup that the hunters are all about to get into this big scavenger hunt race to find the other pieces of an ancient tablet that House, the main proprietor of this business, has. And the prize reward is like a 7-figure payout. The rules is you cannot kill your opponents during this race, but you can injure them. You can fight them, but you cannot kill them. Those are the rules. So, Prairie Dog and Canine are in the middle of digging. Prairie Dog and Canine get into a bit of a disagreement about how they should do it. Canine wants to dig 6 feet deep. Prairie Dog wants to do 2 feet deep. Because that's it, for whatever reason, It's just disagreement in methods of digging, I guess. They clearly struggle through this little ordeal when they split up. We get an amazing scene with Prairie Dog sitting by himself, drinking from a water bottle, and it's almost as if it's kind of wearing him down. I'll touch more on like theories and my impressions so far. So they meet again, and Prairie Dog and Canine come up with a wager. Whoever's method works between the digging and finding the artifact gets half of the other's payout if they win. No, it doesn't go anywhere. They fail miserably. And they get to their camp, and Prairie Dog and Canine get into an argument about Prairie Dog's contributions and what his role is as their partnership. They bring up multiple times about how Prairie Dog doesn't think about things. He doesn't think about consequences. He doesn't have a plan. And how many times Canine had to save him from his own mistakes. Prairie Dog then goes off on his own, following this argument, and he sits by like a cliffside. I don't want to say cliffside. He sits on a rock, and he pulls out a notebook, journal, or whatever, and just reads, I think, a passage or finds a photo or something. Contemplates, and he returns back to camp. I had a yawn. Ugh. And Canine offers him food, and they make up. And they end up reminiscing and talking about their past and stuff. Canine came from a background where his World War II vet grandfather took him on camping trips all the time, and they'd make crazy food, and it was a grand old time. Prairie Dog came from the city in a boys' home and wanted nothing more than to get out. They talk about their goals if they win. Prairie Dog mentions that he wants to live life to the fullest before he settles down. And Canine wants to provide. Surprisingly, he wants to provide for those that he cares about and then settle down as well. Be the good face in the neighborhood. I really like this sequence. This is I don't know if it's true character development, but I love bonding sequences like this. It feels human. It feels natural to share a meal with a buddy and you just sit down, take in the ambiance, and just vibe. Just enjoy the day. I love a scene like this, and this was done very well. And the acting is done much better. It seems like these episodes, as they go along, get better in quality in terms of like the acting and the pacing. Because I remember talking about last episode that there was a lot that happened in a relatively short time. Sorry. And we got a lot of information so quickly that I couldn't process a whole lot, to be perfectly frank. But now we get a bit more information personally, and it's paced pretty well. I'll talk more about impressions in overall in a second. Continuing on, make sure I didn't lose my place here on my notebook. They settle in for the night, and the next morning they go out to dig more. They both kind of struggle, and then Prairie Dog brings out his little guy. I remember calling it a Geiger counter when I went over the pilot. It's like he calls it the miracle box, which basically is like the dragon radar. Oh God, why am I yawning? Yeah. Okay. Pulls out his miracle box. Like I said, basically just a dragon radar. And They find the artifact. They celebrate. They're like, yes, finally. And then they are confronted by Ranch and Bull. If y'all don't remember, I enjoy their characters quite a bit because I love just how their dynamic was. Ranch gives them the go-ahead that say, hey, just give it to us and we don't want to, and we could just move on. Prairie Dog and K9 obviously say no because why? Why would they? And they get into a fight. They are easily overwhelmed by Bull and Ranch. Ranch taunts Prairie Dog after he takes the artifact from him. And keep in mind, right now, Bull has Prairie Dog in like a full Nelson type like of hold. Ranch taunts him, and Prairie Dog spits blood on his boot. Blood, yeah. He spits on his boot. This infuriates Ranch, and he severely beats him. And then that's how the episode ends. Yeah, I know. I had to do a double take when that happened. There is a post credits where it shows K9 carrying an unconscious Prairie Dog on his back out of there. Again, I had to do a double take watching that ending. That's crazy to me. How you end off an episode like that. I think that I like it because it's ballsy. You end an episode like that, and then you have the post-credit scene to show, oh, they survived. Oh, obviously they survived. They can't kill. That's the rule. I feel like you didn't need the post-credit scene showing K9 carrying Prairie Dog, though. I think it would have been easily more tense and stronger if we just ended it with Prairie Dog getting the crap beat out of him. That would certainly show off the tension that the series will give, as well as give that what's it called, cliffhanger a bit more weight to it. Because the post-credit scene kind of just shows, oh, they're okay, they're just trying to get the safety now. But if you didn't have that, imagine all the crack theories you'd have then. I'm not saying don't do that. It's just I would have liked that just a little bit more. I like what we got though. And I have a couple questions and just general notes that I'm going to go over. I'm wondering if overall, before I get into that, first off, this episode was much better. Like I said, this is the best one yet. The camera work was a lot stronger, a lot more cohesive, framing, blocking. It was all just much tighter, much cleaner. Dialogue and line reads were much, much smoother, much cleaner. I'm going to use clean a lot in this one. This one was a lot cleaner than the other two episodes. Matt Lamar's Prairie Dog, some of his lines, I think there was one line that I felt, kind of on the nose of what the tone is going to be for that. But it's not like a nitpick, or it's just like more of a just observation. But the dialogue and line reads were not as janky as the second episode. This one was a lot cleaner, and I enjoyed a lot of it. Lighting is still pretty good. On set, too, is crazy work. Oh, why Bayani? We do get an actual fight scene with, well, not really a fight scene. The Prairie Dog and K9 get their asses whooped. But it's pretty well choreographed. Bull is this big dude. He's a big motherfucker. Pardon my language. But he's a big dude. And I like how they show that throughout. I can't wait to see more of Ranch and Bull. They're clearly becoming probably some of my favorite antagonists here. But yeah, like in terms of like the editing style and everything, this one was a lot stronger. We took a lot more time with Prairie Dog and Canine by themselves contemplating stuff. Gotta fix my mic a bit here. There we go. They get a lot more time to themselves where we just enjoy the acting with it and what they have as a collective. This was very enjoyable, acting wise, directing wise, script wise too. The script was a lot tighter, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited, but enough of me gushing about this stuff. I want to kind of ask about. I'm gonna kind of give my crack theories and overall notes of what happened. Prairie Dog and Canine bond over shared experiences and shared struggles. Prairie Dog came from a troubled background and wants to live life to the fullest. Canine came from a loving grandfather. I hate myself right now doing this. But Canine comes from a loving grandfather who always took him on camping trips. Also, Prairie Dog is a city boy. A city boy who is more than happy to do outdoorsy stuff, be an outdoorsman, dig, excavate, climb. Kind of shows what he wanted to do, and them talking about their goals of what they want to do if they win, I thought was a very strong sequence. Because we now have a motivation. We now have goals with these characters. Prairie Dog is, while simple, it's actually something everyone wants, right? Live life to the fullest and then settle down. That's what everyone wants. And Canine is like the opposite end of that for a lot of people. To provide for those that they care about. And then settle down in a nice neighborhood or town to be the good neighbor that you want to be. These are relatable goals that makes us want to root for them. And I do. I root for these guys. I'm excited to see what else is going to come. I think it's because now we have, since the exposition is gone, and we have all the setup. Now we get to the really juicy bits of the script, the story, the lore. And yeah, that's going to be great. So, yeah, Prairie Dog and Canine bond over their shared struggles, and especially them digging. I think Canine gets like hand blisters on his hands because he's not used to digging like this, whereas Prairie Dog is more than used to it. And that's pretty. It's a cool way to show limitations too. Canine's always been the strategic one. He's always been the one kind of just planning it out and being in the back. And Prairie Dog's the grunt work. To see Canine go out of his way to do grunt work is quite a step. And here's the big question. I'm going to give my crack theory on this in a second. Is the miracle box that Prairie Dog has just a MacGuffin finder, or is it something more? Is it connected to the tablet? Because the only times it's reacted or picked something up is when it's involving the tablet. I'll give my crack theory in a second. Ranch takes offense to defiance. This could just be a villain thing. You spit in the villain's face, they're going to retaliate. But there's something about Ranch thing, right? He provokes and he taunts. He wants the reaction. He wants that. And he wants to show that he's superior. But when someone actually falls for it and actually defies him, the way he wants, he then lashes out. I want to know. I wonder if that's either a superiority complex or something a little deeper. Like, he wants to show he's in control, but when someone actually doesn't give that control, he takes offense to it. I could be like reading way too much into this, but it's interesting to think about with these characters. But yeah, now my crack theory on the Miracle Box is going to be something similar like how in the Last Crusade they used the tablet to get the clues to the Holy Grail. I want to know, or I'm going to. This is my theory on this. The Miracle Box has a piece of the tablet, and it's drawn to the other tablet pieces, right? Like a magnet of some sort. Like how Captain Jack Sparrow's compass points to the thing it does the user's heart desires the most. What if that Miracle Box has a piece of that tablet in there as part of like the mechanism or something, and it gets drawn to these other tablet pieces, and that's how we introduce the supernatural part to the whole series. Because my crack theory is that the tablet is either a map to the Holy Grail or like the Gate of Babylon or something of equal importance and significance in history or mythology. Because there's no way this is just a MacGuffin. There's no way this is just a throwaway artifact. There's clearly something more to this. So that's my theory. I'm gonna say that that's my theory. I'm gonna say that the tablet pieces and the Miracle Box are connected. I'm gonna say the Miracle Box has a piece of the tablets in it, has a piece of it in the mechanism. Because it's like you open it up and then it does its thing when it gets close or picks it up. And once they find it all, that's how it's gonna be a culmination of everything. That's gonna be my theory on that. I could be completely wrong. There goes my pen. I could be completely wrong, or what? Obviously, War Pictures, Matt. If y'all are watching this, obviously you're not gonna tell me if I'm on it or not. But I'm excited. I'm doing my best with this. But yeah, I don't know what else to say other than yeah, this series is getting a lot more in depth. It's becoming a lot more enjoyable. Not that it wasn't already. God, I hate myself. God, yeah, that was a big one. I'm excited for this series, and it seems like this is going to be like a weekly schedule of episodes. If I remember correctly, this is going to be a 10-episode season. We are on episode 3. Next Saturday, or was it Friday? I don't know which one. It's gonna be like every weekend is gonna be a new episode. That's what I'm thinking. And to respond to that, I will be releasing my review / impressions of, and also theories on the series as well as a response. I will link a link to the episode in the description below, so you guys can go check it out. Those that watch me, if you haven't already, please check these guys out. There's a lot of passion behind this. There's a lot of thought put into this, and I can't wait to see more of it. So, as always, if you want to see more of me talking about it or just anything in general, please leave a like, please subscribe. Comment down below what you thought of the episode. And if you have any crack theories yourself after watching it, please don't be afraid to share them in the comments. I'd love to just talk about it as well. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Y'all have a good night, and I'll see you next time.